Hi, and welcome to the Yarn Habit Geek podcast. My name is Laura. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Ravelry as Yarn Habit Geek. There is also a Ravelry group for the podcast if you wish to join. And once again, I am going to mention I desperately need to update the Ravelry group with all the show notes from my past episodes till, today, which I will hopefully dedicate tomorrow to working on. So let's get started with this week's episode, shall we? Alright, let's get on to whips of the week. I only have one whip, because I spent most of the week technically I spent about half the week finishing off a project, which will be showing finished objects, but also on the weekend. Well, technically on Saturday, I was off in Kitchener. But let's get back to what the segment is, and I will talk about what happened on the weekend in another segment later on in the show. So, my only whip is my little mini Nightwing sweater I am working on for basically the doll size version, which is not fully accurate to what is done in a drawing, since, well, basically I have to scale it down, so here but I gotta get the sleeves done. I basically did the tiny little shoulders and the collar. Basically I have to do a big collar because it's gotta fit over the doll's head, and yeah. Although I will probably, even though I used the measurements for a male Monster High doll, I probably will be displaying it on the female Create a Monster from Monster High, because I can just take off the head easily for that one. And plus I have basically one body already from that line to ready to display this. I just gotta finish the sleeves. I should say start on the sleeves, but this is just for me to know what to do when I start working on the actual human size version. So basically, this is my test version for what would be a human size. Alright, and that is basically it for Whips of the Week. And I know last week's episode I had said I would try to get back work on the tiger rug and the Ron Weasley blanket, but I was just more focused on what's coming up in finished objects. Alright, finished object time, and as I was mentioning in the Whips of the Week, I had spent a good portion of the week finishing off this one project. And this will finally be the last time you guys get to see it. And it is the Bobble Stitch blanket with the Hogwarts crest. Oh my god, I can't even fit it in the screen. But I will be showing the full picture after I'm done talking in this segment, like I do with every single finished object segment, except for maybe a few items I forget to take pictures of. But, yay, it's done. I basically finish all the bobble rows, I think, before Friday? Yeah, I think I finished the bobble rows on Thursday, and started working on this border, just to make it nice and finished. But it is finished. I just gonna give it a special wash, in which I am going to need to find a bigger container to wash it in, because it is not going to fit in my washing sink. I can tell you that much. So I'm probably going to have to find a big tub, and because I like to wash them first by hand in the special wash I have before I even prep it for delivery. So that is basically the only finished object I have to show for this week. Hopefully I will have that little Nightwing sweater done and for next week. And let's get on to the next segment. Alright, so this segment we are going to be talking about the future and upcoming knit projects I have in the works. The obvious first one is going to be that full-size human Nightwing sweater. No, that I'm working on the little doll-size version from. And I'm also going to be, that is based on the fan work that I showed in a previous episode. I cannot remember which episode, even though I have my show notes, I'm not going to go far back. And also, I'll be doing the Red Hood sweater, that's a part of that fan art as well. And basically, just end of last month, which was February 2018, I placed in my second order from Knitpicks, which has a bunch of yarn that I'm going to be using for a project as soon as it's in, which is the Poison Ivy wrap pattern from the Geek book, which I will be showing in next week's episode. And a few of the yarns for the Nightwing and Red Hood sweaters I'll be working on, which are going to be Christmas gifts for 2 cosplayers that I am friends with. And obviously I have talked about this sweater that I plan on doing in previous episodes, which is the DC Bombshells Killer Frost sweater. Right now I am about to just decide what colors I'm going to choose. I know I'm going to be knitting it in figure weight yarn, like I do with most of my colorwork sweaters. And I'll be ordering all the yarn from Knitpicks, which I absolutely love their yarn, and hence why I have a second order coming in. And well, probably at the end of this month I will be picking up another. I'll probably get the rest of the yarn that I have in my wish list for the rest, for what I need for my Red Hood and Nightwing sweaters that I'll be knitting up. And hopefully by next week's episode my Knitpicks order will be in and I can show you all the goodies I picked up from Knitpicks. So that, oh yes, before I forget, I gotta talk. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. But oh yes, basically during most of the previous week before this episode, my focus was on the Hogwarts Bobble Stitch blanket, which I am finally happy to have finished. And let's see. Well, let's face it, I hardly worked on anything but during the week, except popping in a row into the temperature blanket, because I was coasting on a little bit of a happy finished object high. But also I was getting ready to go to a con on Saturday in Kitchener. Unfortunately, I did not take a lot of pictures, so, and plus I've got another con coming up, and that one I will be doing a little clip show of my photos like I did with Fan Expo last year. So that is it for this week's episode. I will see you all next week. Till then, stay crafty, my friends.